Okay, guys, this is like the first time that I've had, well, not the first time, but the first time in a very long time that I've had 3 breaks in one day. So I'm really excited about that. So I wanted to take this opportunity and I just wanted to talk to you a little bit. So it's gonna be real quick because I just did a video and I'm kind of getting tired, um, but I really want to get this out. So I wanted to share with you about trauma. Okay, I won't go too deep, I'll just hit the surface of things. I want to speak to anyone, male or female, that has experienced trauma. Okay, and it could be any type of trauma, any form of trauma. Um, and in case you are wondering, well, what is trauma? Trauma is an external stressful event that disrupt your life. And I like to make things simple. Now, there's a nice definition of trauma, but that is the way that it makes sense to me. It is a stressful, traumatic event that disrupts your life. That's trauma. Okay. So, something about trauma where we, and I say we because I experienced trauma in my past as a child and as a young adult and as an adult currently, you know. So, the thing about trauma, if you don't understand what happens to your brain and how your body respond, then you'll be in trauma for a very long time. So, not to prolong this video and not to go too deep, I'm gonna stay at the surface. Just hopefully, this may help some of you understand why you do certain things. So, most of us don't understand about the brain. So, the brain, picture the brain as a nice ABC order, color coordinated file cabinet, where if you open it by one glance, you know exactly where to go. Okay? Now, what a traumatic brain looks like, imagine, just close your eyes for a second. Imagine that perfectly well organized file cabinet is taken and thrown across the room. Okay? So, what do you see? You see a mess. You see files all over the place. It's no longer in ABC order. It's no longer color coordinated that fits in the proper place. It's a mess. So now, when you have a situation that arises, you don't typically respond appropriately. You react because you don't know where to go to get the proper stuff to respond because the traumatic brain just has been shaken. It's been shook. Okay. Another thing that happens with the brain, our brain does one of 3 things: fight, flight, or freeze. These become coping mechanism. This is what I call a line of protection. Your brain is so amazing that when you get into certain traumatic situations, your brain is going to either send a signal to fight, flight, or freeze, right? So what happens is throughout the years that our brain has constructed a building, we'll look at fight, flight, and freeze as a building, has constructed a building, this becomes our line of protection. This is how we're protected because we were in that trauma. As we transition through life, and some of us get healing, some of us get complete healing, and some of us are still on the journey, right, of trying to figure out if we want to start. Well, on that journey, we never learn that our brain has gone from a brain a natural brain to a traumatic brain. We never understood or learned that there's one of three responses that's going to happen. We never learned that our brain is literally going to construct a building by which you will live out of. Okay, stay with me. So, for a lot of us, we're no longer in those traumatic moments, but yet our reaction is as if we are still living in that building. Okay? So what does that mean? That means that you're still living out of your trauma. And that is why your responses or reactions are the way that they are. How do I know this? Y'all know I always use me first, right? It's because I've been there. I was a young adult living in a 12-year-old building because that's when my trauma happened when I was 12. And I was not aware that all of my reactions was coming from that building that my beautiful brain constructed for me. Okay? So you can also think of the brain as a construction site. But now, currently, that building doesn't fit me. That building is molded. That building has very poor structure. The foundation is shaky. I, as an adult, with the weight that I carry, ooh, y'all better catch that. Okay, for those who know me, you know what I mean when I say the weight that I carry. At the weight that I carry, that building cannot hold me. Okay, so where it used to be comfortable where I can sit in, now is very uncomfortable. Where the air used to be a fresh smell, now it has a stench. I can no longer live in that trauma. I can no longer live from that building that my beautiful brain constructed for me. Okay, let me wrap it up. So what do? Well, you know, when I bring you something, I always want to give you a resolve. So what you do is you first express gratitude. And you say, of course, after you go to therapy and be able to recognize that you're doing this, but then you say, brain, I am so grateful that you thought enough of me to prepare a building, to construct a building that served me as a line of protection, because that's why I survived. But now, currently, where I am, that construction, that building, that line of protection no longer serves me. Okay? I am now living in my presence, in my abundance. Does that make sense? Now, you correlate what I just told you about a traumatic brain, because that was very surface level stuff. Go get you a therapist. We as a people are no longer living in a society that forbid us to partake in any social systems that we need to go run to the ministry. We now go to the ministry because we choose to. But please go get therapy. If you are searching for a therapist, just let me know. Drop a line and I'll give you tons of resources where there's thousands of therapists at the tip of your finger. Okay? And there's many that have all types of programs that can help out as well. But if you don't ask, I don't know you need the help. I am a walking, speaking, breathing resource giver. I have many. So you don't have to come to me. Just go get a therapist. All right, guys. I think that's my last break of the day. I love y'all. Y'all know what we do. We stay all the way free.